The best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's a quote by Peter Drucker. Time is precious, time is money, and this is a time for Money Talk on Atlantic Television Network. Good day, viewers, and welcome to a fresh episode of Atn Business on Atlantic Television Network right here in the city of Port Harcourt. This is a network's medium of bringing the happenings in the economic sector of the society to our discerning viewers. This program is aimed at bringing to the doorstep of viewers the business, financial, and economic activities from all strata of society. Its delivery is accentuated through the various stock exchanges across the world. News about government, economic activities, private sector, business activities, leads to the expert opinions, stakeholders' analysis, and correspondence reports. Headlines. By the end of the show, you can be rest assured of being informed accurately of financial activities around the world. I am your host, Wendy. We'll take a short break, and when we return, go right into the details. Don't go anywhere. The outage severely affected social and economic activities in the state and led to the dismissal of the managing director of Ibom Power Plant, Mayen Etsukudo, by Governor Omo Eno. In a statement responding to the crisis, the former MD attributed the power outages partly to a suspension of gas supply from Savannah Energy. He alleged that Akogas had sabotaged the efforts of Ibom Power by cutting off the gas supply to the plant, further complicating the situation caused by a fault in the 132 kV into Aba transmission line. The transmission line, which transports power from the national grid, had reportedly suffered a failure that contributed to the statewide blackout. Akogas, however, refuted these claims that its communication manager, Okudili Onya, emphasizing that the power crisis was entirely due to the fault in the Itu Aba transmission line. Onya dismissed the accusation of gas supply disruption as misinformation, asserting that Akogas had been a reliable supplier of gas to Ibom Power since 2014. He reiterated that the company supplies gas for 20% of Nigeria's terminal power generation capacity and has invested over $1.5 billion in gas development in Akwa Ibom State. The power outages and the subsequent fallout highlight the interconnected challenges in Nigeria's energy sector, which issues in gas supply, power generation and transmission infrastructure can collectively undermine service delivery. Both parties have called for the urgent restoration of the faulty transmission line to mitigate further disruptions and ensure stable electricity supply in the state. Transport union leaders in Ogun State have criticized the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, for opposing a government-initiated special task force aimed at curbing sharp practices in filling stations. Chairman of the National Urban Union of Road Transport Workers in the state, Mustafa Adewale, condemned IPMAN's threats to halt fuel supply to the state in protest against the task force's operations. According to Adewale, rather than issuing threats, IPMAN should investigate allegations of malpractice among its members, which necessitated the task force creation. Adewale expressed concerns over rampant fuel dispensing irregularities where motorists pay for 10 liters but receive only 7. This issue, he noted, directly impacts transport fares and burdens the public. He commended the administration of Governor Dapo Abiodun for his proactive and people-oriented approach in settling up the task force, describing it as a commendable initiative deserving widespread support. IPMAN had earlier labeled the task force illegal, accusing its members of harassment, and warned that fuel supply to Ogun State would cease starting Monday, November 18th, unless the government disbanded the group. Supporting Adewale's position, the Secretary of the Road Transport Employees Association of Nigeria, Tiwalade Akimbade, argued that IPMAN's resistance suggested ulterior motives. Akimbade emphasized the government's objective of ensuring that citizens receive the fuel volumes they pay for and lauded the task force for its protective role against exploitation. Both union leaders praised Governor Abiodun for prioritizing citizen welfare and urged the public to support the task force's effort. Attempts to obtain further comment from IPMAN on the matter were unsuccessful at the time of this report. Lagos State Signage and Advertisement Agency, LASA, has introduced its 2025 mobile advert permit, incorporating an encrypted QR code for all branded vehicles operating within Lagos State. At the launch event in Lagos, Fatiu Akiolu, Managing Director and CEO of LASA, highlighted the permit application to various vehicle types, including motorcycles, cars, buses, trucks, trailers, and others. Akiolu explained that the yearly mobile advert permit is valid from January to December and is renewable annually. He emphasized the importance of compliance, warning that failure to obtain the permit would result in users paying for the entire year plus a penalty for non-compliance. The initiative serves as a reminder for users to renew the permit and encourages new vehicle owners to register properly. Users can apply for the permit through the LASA website or by visiting any of the agency's branch offices. The updated platform, complemented by the LASA mobile app, allows users to scan their vehicle's plate number to verify registration without needing to print documents. Payments can be made online via Paystack, and once approved, a QR code is sent to the registered email address. This QR code serves as verification and SIM system to explain that the digital process requires users to submit Photo Store or Google Play Store for registration, verification, and management. The initiative aims to streamline the process for businesses and individuals, enhancing compliance and operational efficiency in outdoor advertising within Lagos State. Benue State government has announced plans to enact an electricity law aimed at regulating the state's energy sector and addressing persistent power supply challenges. The Commander for Transport, Renewable Energy and Power, Mr. Omale, disclosed this during an interview in Makurdi. He revealed that the draft bill is currently under review by the Ministry of Justice and will be presented to the State Executive Council for approval before being sent to the House of Assembly as an executive bill. Omale explained that the proposed law seeks to address the energy needs of underserved and unserved communities across the state. He highlighted that some communities lack electricity infrastructure altogether, while others generate, distribute, and regulate electricity independently. The challenges posed by power outages have been a significant impact on businesses in the state. Jennifer Tema, a restaurant owner in Makurdi, lamented the losses her business has suffered due to the recurring collapse of the national grid. She reported losing perishable food items worth over 2 million naira during the recent outage as a generator cannot adequately support her freezers. Another resident, Dennis Tusola, who runs a computer center and betting shop, also expressed frustration over the unstable power supply. He explained that the high cost of fuel, which he purchases at between 1,200 and 1,350 naira per litre, is consuming his profits as he uses up to 18 litres daily to power his generators. Both residents expressed hope that the government's initiative will bring about a lasting solution to the electricity challenges in Benue State. By creating a localized energy policy, the government aims to reduce reliance on national grid and provide sustainable, cost-effective power solutions for businesses and households. President Tinubu, represented by Vice President Shatima, at the United Nations General Assembly in September, called for global debt forgiveness for Nigeria and other developing nations, arguing that without relief, meaningful economic progress would remain elusive for countries burdened by unsustainable debt. The administration continues to emphasize domestic borrowing while seeking international concessions, but concerns persist about the sustainability of Nigeria's growing debt and its implications for long-term economic stability. Federal government spent $1.36 billion servicing debts owed to 12 international and multilateral creditors in the first half of 2024, marking a 216.07% increase compared to $431.23 billion in the same period of 2023. This sharp rise, as revealed in public debt report from the Debt Management Office (DMO), is primarily attributed to increased borrowing costs driven by rising global interest rates, which have strained Nigeria's fiscal balance amid ongoing economic challenges. Nigeria's creditors include multilateral entities such as the African Development Bank, International Monetary Fund (IMF), International Development Association (IDA), and bilateral lenders such as the Japan International Cooperation Agency and the Agency Franchise Development, among others. The IMF received the largest repayment of $813.58 million, more than double the $401.73 million repaid throughout 2023. Other payments include $327.98 million to the IDA and $113.91 million to the Japan Development Bank. The DMO's half-year public debt report also highlights that Nigeria's domestic and foreign debt rose to 71.2 trillion naira and $42.9 billion respectively as of June 2024. This reflects a significant increase from December 2023, with domestic debt surging by 20.4% and foreign debt by 1.1%. The rise in domestic debt, which has grown by 141% since President Bola Tinubu assumed office, underscores the government's growing reliance on domestic borrowing, including promissory notes, now totaling 1.67 trillion naira, 65 trillion naira. These notes are primarily used to settle obligations to contractors, suppliers, and oil marketers. Nigeria's escalating debt servicing costs have drawn criticism, especially with Fitch rating projecting external debt servicing to reach $5.2 billion in 2025. This comes as the government grapples with high inflation and aggressive interest rate hikes, with the Central Bank of Nigeria raising the benchmark rate to 27.25% in an effort to control inflation, which stood at 33.88% in October 2024. However, the policy has also made borrowing costlier. Federal government of Nigeria has distributed 3.9 million doses of the Pestis Petits Ruminants PPR vaccine and 7.7 million doses of the Newcastle disease vaccine to rural communities in Plateau, Bauchi, and Kano states over the last 5 years. This initiative, which aim to improve livestock health and productivity, was disclosed by the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Aliyu Abdullahi, during the close-out meeting of the European Union-supported Livestock Disease Surveillance Knowledge Integration Project in Abuja. Aliyu acknowledged the government's challenges in achieving food security and stressed the need for continued strategic interventions to address these issues. Represented by his special assistant Aminu Oluwafisayo, the minister noted that the collaborative efforts of Lidiski and other partners have strengthened animal health systems and contributed to resilient agricultural practices capable of meeting the national nutritional needs of Nigeria's growing population. He highlighted the government's commitment to building a food-secure nation where agriculture underpins economic stability and better nutrition for all citizens. Speaking on the project's achievements, he explained that it enhanced disease detection and reporting capabilities, especially in cattle, plant food, and poultry streams. This progress was evident in the significant number of suspected cases of PPR and ND reported to state veterinary services and the large-scale vaccine distribution. He emphasized that the effort aligns with the President Bola Tinubu's agenda of empowering farmers and ensuring access to safe and nutritious food for a resilient and prosperous Nigeria. Dr. Leyland Matthew, representing the European Union, noted that the initiative was designed to combat animal diseases that affect the livelihoods of herders and farmers in rural communities. She emphasized the EU's commitment to helping Nigeria overcome socio-economic and technical challenges in its agricultural sector. The project, which concluded after 5 years, made substantial progress in surveillance and control of PPR and ND, contributing to improved livestock health and economic well-being. The minister reaffirmed the importance of continued collaboration and innovation in addressing food security challenges. He called for sustained effort to support agricultural resilience, emphasizing that the lessons learned and progress achieved must translate into actionable policies backed by adequate resources. The conclusion of the Lidiske project marks a significant milestone in Nigeria's journey towards sustainable agricultural development and food security, although the work to fully achieve these goals remains ongoing. Federal government has projected a significant increase of 60% in the personnel costs for 2025 due to the implementation of the new national minimum wage of 70,000 naira and consequently adjustment across all cadres of the Federal Civil Service. This was disclosed in the recently released 2025-2027 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. The 2024 budget allocated 4.1 trillion naira for personnel expenditure, meaning the projected increase would add 2.46 trillion naira, bringing the total personnel cost to 6.56 trillion naira in 2025. The increase follows President Bola Tinubu's approval of 70,000 naira minimum wage in July 2024. Federal workers have already begun receiving the new wage, though implementation across states has been uneven. While over 20 states have announced compliance with the new minimum wage, some remain not compliant, prompting the Nigerian Labour Congress to issue a deadline for December 1st, 2024 for full implementation. In the report, the government explains that the significant rise in personnel costs would also affect pension contributions and health insurance payments, which are calculated as part of overall personnel expenses. For 2025, a total of 9.64 trillion naira has been allocated for personnel and pension costs, representing an increase of 3.56 trillion naira from the 2024 budget. The government has noted that the increased personnel costs, coupled with higher debt obligations are key factors driving a projected budget deficit of 13.08 trillion naira in 2025, equivalent to 3.87% of the country's GDP. This deficit marks a rise from the 9.18 trillion naira deficit estimated for 2024. The government aims to reduce the deficit within the medium term, but will primarily rely on domestic borrowing to finance the shortfall, citing limited external financing opportunities. National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has urged businesses to prioritize compliance with health and safety regulations, particularly in areas like branding, product handling, and adherence and chemicals must adhere to specific laws. That warned that failure to comply would lead to significant financial consequences, citing an example where one misstep by an officer could result in the closure of a business for up to years for millions. He advised retailers to conduct regulatory mapping when expanding into new markets to understand the various legal requirements from organizations like NAFDAC, the Standard Organization of Nigeria, and the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. The NAFDAC official also highlighted the importance of proper storage and registration of products, noting that poor practices such as selling under-registered products or improperly stored items like yogurts could lead to administrative fines and product seizures. Additionally, businesses were warned against making false claims on labels, as NAFDAC actively protects consumers from misleading information, ensuring products contain what they claim. Daddy urged businesses to utilize NAFDAC resources, including its website, to stay informed and ensure compliance, emphasizing that accurate labeling and truthfulness in product content. Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, has identified rising agency costs, particularly for electricity and petrol, as a significant challenge for small businesses in Nigeria. These costs are increasing production and transportation expenses, thereby affecting the overall efficiency of small and medium enterprises, according to Charles Odi, SMEDAN's Director General. In response, SMEDAN is collaborating with state government to establish industrial clusters and work hubs to mitigate these challenges. These facilities aim to provide SMEs with discounted access to electricity, share policies including the elimination of unnecessary taxes and the simplification of regulations to foster a more conducive environment for SME growth. The agency has introduced a ranking system to incentivize states to adopt positive governance reforms and is encouraging SMEs to leverage the government's compressed natural gas initiative. The use of CNG-powered vehicles is helping businesses reduce transportation costs and enhance profitability. Moreover, SMEs are seizing opportunities in the CNG value chain, including investing in conversion centers and offering related services, supported by partnership facilitated by SMEDAN. SMEDAN is also focusing on skill development, training young Nigerians as technicians to support the CNG industry and promote a sustainable energy ecosystem. Drawing inspiration from countries like India, SMEDAN aims to replicate successful CNG models in Nigeria. On tax reforms, Odi highlighted the benefits of the federal government tax waivers for small businesses. He noted that the expansion of these waivers, along with the raised tax threshold, provides financial relief for SMEs. He credited the Taiwo Yedele Presidential Committee on Tax Reforms and Fiscal Policy for devising strategies to streamline taxes and reduce the burden on small businesses. 10 naira to 15 naira per litre in some areas due to increased consumption. Ukadike expressed optimism that the price reduction trend would continue as the refinery ramps up supply. He highlighted that deregulation of the downstream oil sector has fostered competition among marketers, further contributing to price adjustments. Meanwhile, the Dangote refinery is seeking billions of dollars to import crude oil and boost production. Reports indicate the refinery needs $2 billion every 90 days to secure the crude required for refining operations. While initial supplies have come through a Naira for crude deal with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the refinery requires additional crude to reach its full capacity of 650,000 barrels per day. Stakeholders have raised concerns about currency volatility and Nigerians' ability to maintain a steady crude supply, especially given NNPC's pair forward contract. Additionally, IPMAN has appealed to the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to release an outstanding 10 billion naira petroleum equalization fund. This fund, which was intended to ensure uniform fuel pricing across the country before deregulation, remains unpaid, causing financial strain on marketers. IPMAN argues that releasing the funds would enhance business operations and enable marketers to meet growing demand efficiency. Despite the refinery's effort to address Nigeria's energy challenges, its reliance on crude imports underscores broader structural issues in the oil sector. While the Naira for crude agreement aims to reduce dependence on foreign imports, significant challenges remain in ensuring a consistent crude supply and stabilizing refinery operations. These developments come amidst efforts to fully deregulate the downstream oil sector and encourage private sector participation in refining and distribution. Nigerian Exchange Limited has proposed amendment to its rules governing block divestment and large volume trades to enhance transparency and accountability in the market. These proposed challenges were shared with trading license holders for feedback, as announced by Olufemi Shobanjo, CEO of NGS Regulation Limited. The key changes include redefining the threshold for block divestment. Previously set at 30% of a company's total listed shares, this threshold will now apply to trades involving 5% or more of the company's listed shares within a year. Additionally, transfers or acquisition of 80 million units or more, or trades valued at 800 million naira or above within the same period will require reading approval from the exchange. The exchange also retains discretion to treat patterns of transactions exceeding this threshold as block divestments or large volume trades subject to applicable rules. The rationale behind this amendment stems from observations of markets participants structuring trades to circumvent existing disclosure requirements. The proposed changes aim to close loopholes, ensuring full disclosure or significant share transfers, whether executed in single or multiple transactions. According to Shobanjo, the amendment will bolster NGS' ability to monitor substantial changes in shareholder structure and protect market integrity. Implemented since February 2018, the trading license holders' rules on block divestment and large volume trades have served as a framework for overseeing share transfers with a significant impact on daily trade volumes and shareholding structures. However, the updated rules reflect NGS' commitment to adapting to evolving market dynamics and addressing non-compliant behavior. These changes also aim to reinforce exchange capacity to track material shifts in shareholding and maintain confidence among market participants by ensuring greater transparency in the trading of listed securities. Foreign inflows into the Nigerian Exchange Limited dropped to 11.26 billion naira in September 2024, marking the lowest point of the year, as detailed in the NGA's domestic and foreign portfolio investment report. This decline in foreign investment was accompanied by an increase in the liquidation of investment by foreign investors, with foreign outflows rising from 24.38 billion naira in August 2024 to 30.15 billion naira in September 2024. Between January and September 2024, foreign inflows totaled 310.99 billion naira, significantly higher than the 108.93 billion naira recorded during the same period in 2023. The highest inflow of the year, 54.87 billion naira, was recorded in May, but has consistently declined since. Analysts attribute this trend to the unstable naira and high interest rate environment, which have driven investors to seek higher yields outside the equity market. As of Friday, the naira closed at 1,652.23 naira per dollar on the Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange market, while the Central Bank of Nigeria maintained the benchmark interest rate at 27.25% in its recent Monetary Policy Committee meeting. With inflation at 33.88% in October, further interest rate hikes are anticipated, though not aggressively. Despite the decline in foreign anticipation, the NGX reported a significant rise in total transactions, which increased by 29.90% from 378.52 billion naira in August to 493.01 billion naira in September 2024, compared to September 2023. This represents a 66.67% increase. Domestic investors were the dominant force, accounting for approximately 84% of total transactions in September. A closer look at domestic transactions revealed a 40.23% increase from 322.05 billion naira in August to 451.60 billion naira in September. In contrast, foreign transactions decreased by 27.95% during the same period, from 57.47 billion naira to 41.41 billion naira. Retail investors played a significant role in this growth, with their transaction rising by 59.47% from 180.72 billion in August to 288.10 billion in September, outperforming institutional investors by 28%. We open for advert placement, bookings, and commercials. And you can stay connected on ATN socials and watch us on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network, on X, formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC saw its shares hit a 7-day high on Friday, closing at 78.65 naira per unit and reflecting a 10% gain over the previous day's trading. This marked a significant rise from 64 naira per share earlier in the week, with the upward trend driven by a recently approved share buyback scheme. The company's market capitalization stood at 322.49 billion naira at the end of the trading week. In September 2024, FMN's majority shareholder, Excelsior Shipping Company Limited, announced its intention to acquire the shares held by minority shareholders at an initial offer of 70 naira per share. This price represented a 56.3% premium on the last traded price at the time of the announcement and a 63.6% premium on the 90-day volume-weighted average price. Following the court-ordered extraordinary general meeting held on Thursday, shareholders approved the buyback at 86 naira per share, significantly enhancing the deal for minority investors. After the transaction, Excelsior Shipping Company Limited and its wholly owned Nigeria subsidiary Greatwise Investment Solutions Limited will own all legal and beneficial rights to the shares. The company's shares are set to be delisted from the Nigerian Exchange Limited. The buyback coincides with a strong financial rebound for FMN. For the first half of 2025, the company reported a 60% year-on-year revenue growth, with gross profit rising by 67%. FMN returned to profitability, posting at 14.42 billion naira profit compared to a loss of 8.52 billion naira during the same period in 2023. Management attributed this recovery to effective sales and marketing strategies aimed at boosting revenue and controlling costs, along the favorable government monetary policies aimed at stabilizing the foreign exchange market. This development underscores a renewed focus by FMN on optimizing its operations and shareholder value. While the buyback offers minority shareholders a profitable exit, it also reflects the majority shareholders' confidence in the company's long-term potential as it transitions to a privately held entity. Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture NACSIMA has urged businesses, government officials and stakeholders to avoid participating in the Nigerian-India Investors Forum and Business Expo slated for November 17 to 18, 2024. This call was made through a petition to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, highlighting concerns about the event's legitimacy. NACSIMA President Dele Oye expressed doubts about the organizing entity, the Nigerian-India Business Council, NIBC, India, which he stated is not legally recognized in Nigeria. He emphasized that only NIBC Nigeria, a legitimate member of NACSIMA, is authorized to promote Nigerian business interests in collaboration with India. The association warned that engagement with NIBC India could lead to misrepresentation and potentially damage bilateral trade relations. NACSIMA further advised businesses and officials to refrain from engaging with the event, citing potential legal and operational risk. Oye added that participation in activities organized by an unregistered and unauthorized entity could lead to severe repercussions. The association has called on the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs to investigate the legitimacy of NIBC India and issue a public advisory to discourage involvement in the forum. NACSIMA also proposed closer collaboration with the ministry to ensure future Nigeria-India initiatives adhere to ethnical and legal standards. Efforts to obtain a comment from NIBC India were unsuccessful at the time of this report. This is where we wrap it up on this edition of ATN Business on Atlantic Television Network right here in the city of Port Harcourt. I am Wendy Aguma. We are open for advert placement, bookings and commercials. You can stay connected on ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok Atlantic TV Network 1, X formerly Twitter Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website atlanticnetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Thank you for watching and good afternoon.